What up, campers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Monday, December 2nd to all of you. Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is Benny with the Bag. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the well wishes and prayers to my family. It meant so much to me. Very, very, very thankful. Very, very, very thankful to have you guys in my life. I'm excited to be back with you and just excited to keep rolling here. You know, I guess if you're asking like what I learned or anything like that over the last few days, just that I'm very thankful to have you guys having my back. And the only thing, you know, that we can control throughout all of the twists and turns that life gives us is to love stronger and to care more. That's about all that I took from this past week, is just to love stronger and care more. And I'm really excited to be back with you guys. Dear Slayer Ski, Reese, Paul Costa, Yu Chang, Yu, Tommy Wager. What a great group. AM in the house. Barbecue Sauce, Titty, Play of the Day, Serie A. Cagliari Moneyline, plus 110. Look at that. There we go. We also have English Championship, West Brom Moneyline, plus 100. And Gulf Cup, Kuwait Moneyline, plus 140. That's from our guy, AM in the house. We got Dennis Garcia, Ramos, Mark on K for Series Business, Matt Randall. Man, I missed you guys. Cobra Sports, 609, Nilo, Cole Coleon, Avi Gold, Jeff Joseph, man, much love to you. Jeff Lanilla Land, Guillermo Zertucci in the house. Anna Merrick, Dave Berkey. Look at that. There's Berkey in the house. Brooklyn Funk Project. Perfect rotation. Carlos Peroge, Vegas Gun says, morning guys, hospice nurse coming today. Always fun to be poked and prodded. Oh, Vegas Gun, you lead by example, my friend. You continually lead by example, and I hope that your hospice nurse is hot. That's what I hope for you, Vegas Gun. Ride Cape in the house. What a great group. I'm excited to get back to work. There's Richie Rich, Backdoor Cover says, hey Jimmy, first time on, good to be here. Backdoor Cover, nice. New name in the chat. There's Ron Crawford, Alex Guerrero, Joe Anisi, Richard Lee, Wayne Morrison, Prince of the City, James H. Avataz, Ed 215, Newfie Roman. Man, what an incredible group, man. I'm just very, very thankful. Andy Townsend, A-Town, Mitch Bruner, Steve Overlay. This is, it feels good. Rich Slam Sunday's NHL card. I'm looking forward to get back after it. I was kind of off the map there for a few days. There's Hustle Wilson in the house. Man, Hustle Wilson just put out an extremely dope track. I'm going to retweet this track he put out. Put it out just like a week ago, and it's straight fire. And low baggers support low baggers. We got to help Hustle Wilson get that to the masses, man. Get it to the world. There's Hustle Wilson in the house. Incredible MC. Hustle Wilson. Check this guy out, and I'll be retweeting his stuff. Man, incredible MC. There's Dave Boston. We got David Boston joining us, man. Daniel Hernandez. What a treat. PlayStation Voo. Gas Station Sushi. Look at this. Ron Crawford, Dog Bry, Daniel Hernandez. Man, there's Babano, Ian Cameron. Man, Ian Cameron, thank you so much for having my back while I was gone. You are a great capper, great guy, great friend. Kyle Fergus in the house. Luke DM in the house. Oh, man, God, I missed you guys, and I'm very, very, very thankful to be back. PlayStation, let's get smile. I'll never fade you again. No, PlayStation, you fade me. You know, this isn't about agreeing. This is just about winning, and we don't always have to be on the same side. And Americans, it was my birthday yesterday. All I want is my Vikings to win tonight. Oh, I hope you had an incredible birthday. Just an incredible birthday, and America. We have a great show here today. So in 22 minutes, we're going to be joined by J Money is Money. We have a nice card that we can take. A nice card that we can enormously break down each and every single one of these games. I've already locked in 2 NHL bets. We have some NBA looks that I'm close to locking in. Just want to run them past J Money right now. There's Repula Gaming in the house. Jimmy Gomez, M. Wooms, Greg Matson. What a great group, man. Oh, Prince of the City on Dolphins money line. I could only think of you when I was watching that breakdown of the Eagles yesterday. A. Hilly, Bleds W, nuke worker from a very snowy Darlington Nuclear. There's Gerald Jones. Okay, let's get after it. Yes, Alex Guerrero, Teddy will be on in 44 minutes, and in 21 minutes, we'll have J Money is Money. It's a great group. Let's get after it. Let's have a very profitable week. Let's start with NHL. Now, I've still got to send in the records, so there won't be records today, but on Friday before I left, it was a bad day. 5 bets, 2 pushes, and 3 losses, so that NHL record's getting worse. I was somewhat saved by going 1-1 in college basketball and 2-2 NBA. Not saved enough to be in the black, but NBA looking stronger, NHL looking a little weaker. That will be coming out. There's Dom Ricci in the house that I grabbed Seahawks -3 at +105. There's Stu Boo ready to go. Okay, Hector Rodriguez says, lead us to salvation in the promised land. Let Jay. Okay, Claudio S says, what are the first period plays you're on? Let's get after. There's Ronnie Christie in the house. Thank you for joining us, Ronnie. Okay, these are the 2 plays. We'll start. There's Corey Simmons. Beautiful. God, I love seeing you guys here. Okay, let's get after it. Okay, we'll go over the 2 bets that I've made already, and then we'll talk about the other games. First off, I'm taking the Rangers in the first period at +110. I would like to take them full game, but I feel more comfortable on the first period. We're moving over to the NHL section of the best odds page in the business, sportsbookreview.com. Money lines and totals here right now. Oh, when Odyssey 88 stole €950 from my Betfair account. That's awful, Gas Station Sushi. Man, I hate hearing this. Planet Fugatti is in the house. Okay, Jamal Stone. Oh, man, just love seeing you guys. Bookie Bandit. Okay, Gas Station, that's terrible news. I'm going to copy and paste that so I remember moving that afternoon. I was on the Toronto tarmac for 5 hours. I got in very late, so I'm a little shaky. Shadow, there's Shadow joining us. Man, it said, just checking. So glad to see you back. Sent prayers to you and yours. And Shadow, you are so inspiring. You and Vegas Gun are just mean so much to me. All you guys mean so much to me. Just very thankful to roll. All right, let's go. First period. I got +110. And let's see what you could get right now on the Rangers first period money line. There's a +115 at BetOnline. Interesting. But there are no other +110s. There's a +105. Interesting. There's a +108. But BetOnline giving a +115. That's a juicy look. All right, let's talk about why I want these New York Rangers in the first period. First off, Zibanejad. You know I've talked about Mika Zibanejad often in the 3 years that I've been down here. I love him. And I think that he's capable of being an elite center if he can just stay healthy. And it's not easy to be able to take the grind. And when guys know that you might be susceptible to shoulder injuries, they'll come after your shoulders. And that's what we see all the time. There's Akira 04 in the house. Rangers, first period, +110. Georgiev coming off a 33-save shutout. I believe in Georgiev. And I also think that this Rangers team is good with Zibanejad in the lineup. This Ranger team could make the playoffs with Zibanejad in the lineup. They're playing their 8th game in 13 days, which is one of the reasons why I'm not taking them full game. They won 4 of their last 5 games. That 4-0 win over New Jersey is exactly what Quinn wants. Exactly what he wants. 2 short-handed goals, tight defensive hockey, not allowing opportunities to the other side, and taking advantage of situations when they get them. Dom Ricci says Rangers stepping up in play. Dom knows this team inside and out. Knights are off to a bad start, but they've won 2 in a row. They've yet to put a 3-game winning streak together. They're coming off a 2-1 win at home over the Coyotes on Friday. So then they head over to New York, to Madison Square Garden, and I'm taking the Rangers in the first period on the money line. And I like it. Ron Crawford's action coming in. Islanders, Blues, Sabres. We are going to talk Monday Night Football, and that will be our opening. Actually, we'll probably open with basketball with Teddy Covers just because we have just talked about it with our guy Jay Money. But then we will go into Monday Night Football with Teddy Covers. So we will break all these games down. Let's see what Babano says. His only things I consider were Islanders puck line and the Vegas New York over, simply because of Subban, who is an over goalie to me. He was great versus Arizona, but lacks consistency. I'm a Toronto. But I'm a Vancouver guy originally, but I've lived 15 or so years in Toronto in my life, and I'm a Subban fan. I like the family. I like him. I think that he can get rolling, but it's not easy. It's not easy for a young guy to come into New York City, stay focused, and deliver the goods. Are the Knights a better hockey team than the Rangers? Yes. Can I win the first period on a plus line to a team that's been sitting on the Eastern Seaboard for a little while? I think I can. I really think I can. Vegas flying over first game of the road trip. There's my guy Lamont Williams in the house. Dom Ricci. Oh, there's Mr. Gokster. Reese grabbed the Blues Hawks over 6. Reese, I was shocked that it was sneaking down to 5.5 at a couple books. And I was wondering if that would continue. Because I agree with you. I think goals can be scored there. Red Wings continue to be an absolute mess on the ice and off the ice with injuries. I agree with that, Babano. Let's just quickly go with this Rangers Knights thing. Malcolm Subban, 901 save percentage. We've seen him step up in certain situations. I think this is extremely difficult. New York, Madison Square Garden against a not very good team. We saw him step up at home in the last game against Coyotes. We saw him step up in Toronto. Will he be able to step up here? I don't know. But I'm on the Rangers first period plus 110. There's Yo in the house. Okay, my second look is on those awful Detroit Red Wings in the first period. Islanders come off that 0-3 Western skid, beat the Blue Jackets 2-0 on Saturday night. Then they have to go back on the road. They've scored 4 goals in their past 4 games. Greiss is sick, so Varlamov will be in the lineup again, we expect. Washington lost 5-2 to Detroit on Saturday, but they played well in that game. There's 2 empty netters by Ovechkin at the end of the game to make the score look 5-2. Detroit scored its first power play goal in 9 games after an 0-18 run with the man advantage, but don't let the one goal fool you. They're playing terrible on the power play. 1 shot on their 3 power play chances, sitting at a 13.6% power play, 72.2% penalty killing. Islanders don't have the kind of power play that can take advantage of how bad this Red Wings penalty killing is. All right, Ronnie Christie already locked in the Rangers. Robert Collins says Rangers plus 209 on FanDuel in the first period. First period, plus 205 on FanDuel. I don't know how that's possible, Robert. Why would it be I don't know how that's possible. If that is, hammer that immediately, because that's about $1 worse or better than it should be, I guess. I would hammer that right now if you could get that. Okay, so I'm backing the Red Wings here in the first period. This Red Wings team has no depth whatsoever. So they've lost 9 straight, 7, their last 7 all coming in regulation. But their first line is big and tough and nasty. And then they have Athanasiou on the second line, but their first line is nasty. Mantha, Bertuzzi, Larkin is a really good first line. Tough and scary. They played well in their last game, didn't get rewarded. I expect them to step up. They just have no depth whatsoever. They bring in Fabry, who's he's not good enough to be a top 6 forward. He's not tough enough to be a bottom 6 forward. They bring him on. He's the only one scoring. Franz Nielsen, 0 goals, 1 assist in 25 games. He's terrible. Dom Reach says Islanders power play is non-existent except for the one game last week that they had 4 in one game. It is perfect. It is perfect to take a team that's a big home dog, that's terrible on the penalty kill, against a team that can't abuse them. And that's the Islanders power play. They've scored 4 goals in their past 4 games overall, let alone the power play. So I'm on the Red Wings first period at plus 150. I need Bernier to step up. I don't have a ton of faith in Bernier. And Jin Rummy says, damn, Rangers overrated in this chat. Yeah, I love the spot for the Rangers in the first period. In the full game against the Knights at this number, I don't know. I can understand. But this team is 8-4-2 at home and often getting plus lines at home too because they aren't a good team. Claudio S. says Mantha is hurt. I went over the lineup in the depth chart, and he was in the depth chart. He was on the first line and locked in for this game. I'm just going to quickly double check that right now. Let's go. Here we go. Oh, man, my computer is... okay, here we go. Oh, you're right. He's being pulled off for Luke Glendening. Mantha is hurt. Good call. Good call there. Why did I think he was there? Let me just quickly move over to see how long Mantha is out for. He's a hell of a player, Mantha. Let's go over quickly NHL depth charts. All right, and so we still have 12 minutes before we're joined by Jay Money, so we'll go over the games that I don't have action on. Those are my 2 spots, plus lines. Man, let's get a quick Mantha update right now. Here we go. And IR. Couple more weeks. Didn't practice on Tuesday. All right, Mantha out of the lineup, 6'5", 234-pound Mantha. Mantha not back till December 11th, coming in from Ian Cameron, says according to Blatchel, out at the earliest. Okay. But in saying that, Richie Rich loved Detroit first period. I like this opportunity of the Islanders coming back for just one game and having to go back on the road against a opponent that's playing poorly, that did better than it looked in that Capitals game. Those are my two spots. Also, the stats are going to come out, so we'll see exactly how I'm doing on first periods throughout this year. I'm on 2 first periods, both at plus lines. Plus 150 for the Red Wings. If I wanted this right now, let's check at Sportsbook Review what I would be getting on the first period money line for Detroit. There's still plus 150. So plus 152 at Pinnacle. So I would have got 2 cents better had I have waited. Richie Rich says Islanders on the road, 84% public. I will not back. There we go. That's from our guy, Richie Rich in the house. And Ian Cameron, Babano says, I will say this, Jimmy. Red Wings did compete and did fight on Saturday against Washington. They sure did. There's Brian Watson in the house. And Mr. Ghost says, Mika back for the Rangers always makes me want to back these guys, heart and soul player. There is Datfire TV. Thank you for joining us, Datfire TV. Okay, so let's talk about the games that I do not have looks on. Let's get off first period. Go to full game money lines and totals here on the SBR odds page, sportsbookreview.com. Here we go. Buffalo opens up a minus 132. They're now minus 121. This total was originally juiced to the over. It is now juiced to the under at Pinnacle. All right. Devils, Sabres, Blackwood, 3.12 goals against average, 898 save percentage. You know, the Devils don't look good, and I thought they were going to look good. Second last in the NHL. I believed in this team. Jack Hughes looks like an 18-year-old out there. 4 goals, 7 assists, a -8 on the year. Travis Zajac is doing nothing. There's my guy, Viper NB in the house. Anthony Christopher joining us as well. Laniel ready to go. Hector Rodriguez, RZ. And RZ, look at that. Rangers 10-star play of the day. Akira, New Jersey, moneyline play of the day. New Jersey on the road, moneyline play of the day. You know, they have to bounce back from a very disappointing... But I shouldn't say they have to bounce back. That's a wrong statement. Do you want the Devils at this price on the road? That's the question. The second worst team in the NHL. PK Subban, 2 goals, 3 assists, and a -10. Well, how is this happening to PK Subban? I thought that was going to be a nice pickup. Mr. Gokster says Hughes is out for a bit as well. Let's go over there to check out old Hughesy baby. Here, move over to these Devils. There he is. God, he's being bad. And he won't travel with the team to Buffalo for Monday's game. Lower body injury. He could be back Tuesday versus Vegas. Devils on the opening of a back-to-back. There's Captain 24/7. There's the Sports Keg in the house. Looking forward to work with you tonight. Anthony Christopher says, Devils fan here, stay away. I don't know how you back this team right now, and I don't understand how Subban can drop off the face of the earth, skill and talent-wise. And allowing back-to-back short-handed goals is unacceptable. There will be a firing here. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Nasty Nate, man, great to have you. Thank you for joining us, my friend. But do you want the Sabres at home? I don't want the Sabres at home. 3-3 over their past 10. They're coming off 2-1 overtime loss to Toronto on Saturday night. They look good in that Friday, Saturday, home and home. They looked very, very good. And they're still 1 for 37 on the power play over the last 13 games. They did not get a shot on goal in 2 power play opportunities. And they have no Dahlin. Quarterback's a unit. Number 1 overall pick 2 years ago. He's out with a concussion. The teams have figured out if there's no Dahlin, then there's only 2 guys who are scoring. There's 2 guys. There's Eichel and Olofsson on that power play. If you cover them and have Risto line and quarterback in the power play, they're going to do nothing. Richard says, give me New Jersey, the whole world on Buffalo after that great game against Toronto. Ian Cameron saying too much Vaughn times for PK. There's Doug Barnhouse, Nick Allegretti in the house, my guys. Yu Cheng Yu, Rangers -1.5 plus 300 is worth a look. I'm uncomfortable with the Rangers full game. I do not think they're a better hockey team than the Knights, but I like them early. I like the Derby. Ronnie Christie says fade the Devils and Sabres lean over. I just can't trust the Sabres power play. And if you can't get power play production for an over, we have a Devils power play at 12.9%, a Sabres at 17.9%. Both penalty killing is bad, but you need power plays. RC is on the Devils money line. Eddie Oler said Subban should have been more concerned about his game in the offseason instead of his wardrobe. And there's my guy, Dan Kelly, in the house. Dan, thank you for joining us. Dirty Bird as well, ready to come and cap this card. Oh, excuse me, a little coffee. Okay, Blues, Blackhawks. I was surprised that this total dipped under that 6. I was very surprised. Pinnacle hanging a 5.5. Heritage hanging a 5.5. I do not know what Colliton is doing with the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know what he's doing. He's moved the number 3 overall pick, Kirby Dach, to center the second line with DeBrincat and Kane. That's got to be the smallest line in hockey. I don't understand why some of these coaches, Travis Green in Vancouver, Colliton in Chicago, don't understand that you need size and toughness. You have to make space for these guys. You can't give them these little tiny speedsters. How is Kane? Sure, on the power play, that's fine. But on 5-on-5, you're going to put these 3 little guys together. They're going to get pushed around. They're going to at least put Sayad on that line with them. Ronnie Christie says Kirby Dach is nasty. Sure, he's nasty. He's going to be nasty. But he cannot be a second-line centerman with Kane and DeBrincat. 5'6" DeBrincat. Kane's the biggest guy on that line? Big Ragu in the house. Great to see you, Big Ragu. There's Sportsman of the Year. Von Polo says take the over. Joshua Kiokanlaya in the house says can't trust the Hawks this year. There's my guy Ken Peacock as well in the house. I'm shocked that you can get a 5.5 here. I want my book to offer a 5.5. I think there can be goals in this contest. Both teams' penalty killing are strong. The Blackhawks' power play is being weak. Now, can Doc change that? Possibly. Screen went black. Is that facts? No, we're good. We're good, right? We got thumbs up. We're all good. Okay, we're good. Richie Rich says knock back St. Louis here. Not a good spot. I can understand not backing St. Louis. St. Louis has won 3 games in a row. At least 1.6 of their past 7. Coming off an incredibly thorough 5-2 win over the Penguins on Saturday. 6th time this year they've scored 5+ goals. CR, no, we have J Money is Money joining us in 4 minutes, so I gotta speed up a bit. St. Louis without Alexander Steen and Oscar Sundqvist. There's Yella Hammered in the house. Akira liking the over 6. Ronnie Christie says Kirby Dach is 6'4", 200 pounds. I went over his height this morning on RotoWire here. Roto World here. I know he's 198 pounds, but he's 18. Let's get it up here right now on this. Here we go. Kirby Dach. 6'4", 197. He's an 18-year-old kid. Skinny 18-year-old kid. Skinny 18-year-old kid. Rich says that St. Louis-Pittsburgh game was super close until late. Final score is deceiving. I hear that. Ron Marie says, I gave back all my NHL money. We'll get it back. Kirby Dach is not going to protect Kane and DeBrincat. Putting an 18-year-old kid on that line is a mistake, I think. There's Poker Addicted in the house. My guy, Poker Addicted. Well, I'm going to take the over 5.5 that they're offering me here. Let me get to it right now. Only 2 books are hanging the 5.5s. That's Pinnacle and Heritage. Over 5.5 at -115, I will take right now. Over 5.5 at -115 at Heritage. And then I will decide what to do when it comes to betting. That's my first edition on this card. Then we have Kings, Ducks, and then we'll bring in J Money. Let's go right now. There's Jive Man in the house. In the parlay, Chiefs team total over 34.5 plus 215. Texas team total over 26.5 at 265. Ooh, 10-1 there. 10-1. Okay, and Ronnie Christie saying, but I mean, McDavid says he's 195. We know they lie about their weight. And Ronnie Christie says he's considered a power forward. He's a power forward when he's playing in the WHL. But this is the National Hockey League, and he's going to get beaten up. Rem Mosa and Lundqvist likely for New York. There's Nilo in the house. Avi Gold says it's iffy for finding good bets. I like my 2 first period plus lines. I actually like some first quarter looks too in the NBA card that I'm going to pitch to J Money. Let's talk about this Kings-Ducks spot quickly here. This total at 5.5 opened at minus 123 to the under. It's now minus 129. These teams used to play to stone cold or dead unders, as Noli knows would call it. Anaheim opens up at minus 133. They're now minus 149, a 16-cent move towards them. There's Unbelievable in the house. There's DJ Big Boss in the house. Jack Campbell, John Gibson is who we're expecting. The Kings went 7-1-1 at home last month to have a more acceptable record, 11-14-2, but they're 2-9-1 on the road. I told you that the Ducks would lose and lose and lose. I'm on the under in Ducks points this year. I'm on the under in Blackhawks points this year. Those are both going to cash for me. When the Ducks started out 5-0 or whatever they did, I was like, this is perfect because they're going to be overvalued and we're going to be able to take advantage of fading the Ducks. Kings will play 17 of their next 25 games on the road. We're going to get a chance to see if they're actually an okay team. Astute Chaos in the house. Ronnie Christie's on the Kings and under 5.5. RC's on the Kings over 5.5. And the Ducks minus 1.5. Ducks have been off since losing 3-0 at home to the Jets on Friday night. They must be an angry group. They've been sitting at home. Kings 11.8% power play. Ducks 10% power play. I can't back overs unless I can get power plays. But both bad penalty kill. Kings 75.6% penalty kill. Ducks 76.7% penalty kill. I'm not making a move on Ducks Kings at this point. We'll take some time with it. I only have 2 moves on this NHL card, and the last day I was here was Friday, it was Monday. Of course, it was Monday morning. It was Monday morning when I did not have a good day. And we're going to update the records in the afternoon. They're not here right now. But 2 pushes and 3 losses on Monday in NHL. But NBA 2-0 and 1-0 in college basketball. So moving in the right direction. Richie Rich says Ducks, Ducks, Ducks. I can understand the Ducks, but this is a very, very important spot for the Kings. Because 17 of the next 25 on the road. This is an easy road spot. There's Steve Overlay saying Junior Brown is on fire. There's J Money in the house. And Shaft tailing both first period plays. Let's get it. Shaft, my guy. Ronnie Chris says, why is the line moving towards Ducks so much? Because this is a good situation for them. They've been off since Friday. They've been at home. They're well rested. And the Kings are 2-9-1 on the road. Excuse me. Okay. So that's my action. Let's move into NBA and bring in our NBA expert star of Jamming with J Money every day, Monday to Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern here on Sportsbook Review. Joining us right now, J Money is Money, coming to us live from Dallas, Texas. J Money, how you doing on this Monday morning?
What's up, Jimmy? I'm all right, man. I could be better. I had the Pelicans yesterday, man, the second game at home. They couldn't get it done versus OKC for me, man. So I'm still pissed about that. But, hey, it's another day, a new week, ready to get to some money, man. Everything good with you?
I'm very happy to be back in action, and I'm very thankful to have you on my first show back in action to break down this 6-game NBA card. With my 2 wins on Monday, I'm very, very close to being at double digits in NBA, and I want to keep it rolling. Let's talk about the most interesting game on this card, and that is the Utah Jazz after getting destroyed last night at the 76ers. Let's move over to NBA here on the best odds page on the planet. Here we go, spreads and totals. Let's get after it right now. Sixers open up at minus 5.5. There's still 5.5, but sixes everywhere else. Sixes everywhere else. This total opened up at 208. It's now at 208.5. Sixers have won 3 straight. They're 9-0 at home, coming off a very tough 119-116 win at home over the Pacers. And Embiid leading the way. This team is not as good defensively easily. It's easy to say without Josh Richardson in the lineup. He's questionable for tonight. The question is, Jay, do the Jazz bounce back? Do they bounce back early? Is Jazz first quarter money line an option? I would rather take them at a plus 135 or plus 140 money line than a plus 1.5. Take it away, Jay. Jazz Sixers.
Well, that's a damn it's a sneaky play there, Jimmy. I think that could be a cashier for you. I can't say I'm not on it. I don't like that it's the last game of it's the fifth game of the Jazz road trip. They haven't been playing well lately, Jimmy. I see where you're going with that one though, especially because I look at that like that was a 40-point loss. You down 40 points at the half at that one, you know what I'm saying? And then they only lost by 20, but that is not how the game went. They got their ass toasted in that one. You look at Philly in the series, they are 5-0 ATS in the past five in this series, even though the Jazz already beat them earlier this year. So in theory, it's really a revenge game for the 76ers. But like you say, the way that the Jazz have to come out hot, man, after getting killed like that last night. Like I said, it was the fifth game of their road trip. They hadn't been playing defense lately. That's what scared me with the Jazz here. They're supposed to be a defensive team, Jimmy, and the last 5 games, they're 24th in defensive rating. And you look at the 76ers, they're second in defense. But the 76ers, they've been playing lethargic as well. 0-4 ATS the last 4. They've been beating teams, but just barely. We saw the Knicks back-to-back games get up by 17 points against them, and then they just had to come back and win. I'm with you though. If the Jazz come out here pissed, I think that could be a sneaky first quarter cash with you, and even with the game with the +5.5. The Jazz, they're gonna have to come to play some defense though, and that's the whole thing. Are we gonna get a pissed off Jazz team? We know that they can do it. You got players like Bogdanovich and Conley coming over there. They're supposed to bolster up their roster. I don't know what the hell's been going on with this team lately. You would think that they would give it their all here though, and I think that's a good play by you in the first quarter. If any time they're going to come back or come out pissed off, it should be in the first quarter. But Philly is a great first quarter team though, Jimmy, at the house. They're outstanding. That's what they do well. They come out hot at the house. So it's a pretty tricky play, but it could be. It seems like it should be the play here if you like in the Jazz them early.
I'm going to make the move here. It makes sense to me. That was a tough game Saturday night the Sixers were in. And we don't know what's up with Jay Rich right now. The Jazz they have to come out strong. I would rather take the +140 than the +1.5. That's what I'm doing. Reese says Jazz suck on the road. No doubt about it. 4-7 on the road this year. Not getting any distribution, 20.9 assists a game. And like you said about Conley, I'm taking him. I'm on Jazz first quarter money line at +140. Jazz first quarter money line at +140. All right, let's start rolling down, and let's start with this Suns Hornets spot. Let me move back to full game spreads and totals here. All right, and we're using Pinnacle openers. Suns open up at -4. Now there's 4.5s and 5s on the board. Actually, still a 4 at Pinnacle, though. Still a 4 at Pinnacle. This total opened up at 225.5. It is now down to 224. Suns 3-3 on the road. They've lost 3 straight, 6-7, but they did get Aaron Baines back. 24 minutes he played Friday night after missing 5 games with a hip injury. What do we do with the Suns over the next 6 days, Jay? So you will be doing a show every day over the next 6 days, and you will see the Suns playing 4 road games over these 6 days from Monday to Saturday, and I'm very interested in how we are going to handle them. Hornets were just destroyed, embarrassed Saturday night. They had Cody Zeller back after missing 2 games with a hip pointer. The 2 games he was not there, they beat the Pistons in a home-and-home. This is the start of a 5-game homestand for the Hornets. They're just 4-5 at home. How do we handle this spot, Jay? Suns Hornets.
Yeah, the Pistons have really been the only team that the Hornets could beat lately. When you really look at it, my thing is for the Suns here, and I do like the Suns in this spot. They do have a full squad back. They're supposed to. Mikal Bridges is questionable in this spot, and Cam Johnson. If neither one of them plays, it's gonna be a little tricky for them because the Suns. They need to be a full squad. We know that they started off real hot. They've cooled off tremendously lately, man. They only won one of their past 7 games. They're 1-6 straight up, and ATS in their past 7 games. Like I said, they did get all their players back. They played a damn good game versus the Mavericks there. Their game went down to the wire. If they could bring that same energy, this is on the road. You are going cross country. I'm not a big fan of this Hornets squad. Like I say, the only really people they could beat, it was impressive you beating the Pistons there in the home and home, but the Pistons have been playing well lately whatsoever. The Hornets are 2-6 as well over their last 8 games. They're last in defense, officially in the last last 5 games. So I know they're at the house, but they just hadn't been locking up on defense. It's all about if they're making shots. If their shots not falling, the Hornets can get blown out here. But like I said before, I hop on the Suns. I need to know if Bridges and Cam Johnson. I mean, you at least need one of them out there. Baines, he's gonna be he's in there, but he's gonna be on the minutes restriction. So we know Devin Booker is gonna be the best player on the floor out there. You got to lock up on Devontae Graham. He's one of their sneaky players out there. When he's really the best player on this Hornets squad. So I mean, the Hornets only average 110 points per game at the house, and they give up 115. So it's all about the Suns. Can they come in here and make their shots? Can they play some defense? Can they come out with a sense of urgency? Like you said, they got a tough schedule here. These are the type of games that they have to win. I know that they were losing against better opponents, but I mean, you lost to the Wizards at the house. You can kind of see that the Wizards are a good offensive team, and you see them lose to the Mavericks barely. Obviously, they're supposed to lose their game, but if they come out here with a sense of urgency, they should be able to get it done, even though they're on the road here in Charlotte.
See, I'm sort of on the line with Poker Addicted 79. So we have this Hornets team that was just embarrassed after looking good against Detroit in back-to-back games. So they're angry. They were just embarrassed by a spectacular Buck squad. And then Poker Addicted 79 says Charlotte 3-0 against the spread last 3 for Suns. And that, I don't care about that. This is totally new players on both sides, so we can let that go. But he says Suns not crushing it in general, 3-7 last 10. Charlotte at the house plus 4.5 is a live dog play for sure. Charlotte, a weird team that has certain teams' numbers, and this is one of them. And then we have a spot where Dan Kelly says if you're getting the 5, just take the money line, and that's what we're getting now. We're getting the 5. I think Charlotte plus 5 at home against this Suns team that is struggling seems to me like a nice spot, Jay. It seems to me like a nice spot, but you'd be leaning towards backing the Suns here?
Yeah, I'd be leaning towards backing the Suns. Like I say, it's not an official play for me, so I don't want to talk you off your bed. If you like the Hornets here, it is the home dog. I'm not in a hurry to lay points on the road with anybody right now, but I'm just saying that the Suns are the better team. I mean, both of these teams have been losing. I know that the Hornets, they just got blown out, lost by 41 points the last game versus the Bucks, but I mean, that was the Bucks. You look at the Suns, they've been losing as well. They're not trying to take this L either. So you look at both teams. Both teams is really a bounce back spot. Like you say, the Suns, they hadn't had a full squad. They finally got Baines and Rubio back for that one game, and it was a tough game for them to come back against the Mavs, and this is the second game since then. Like I say, it's on the road, but I feel like that's the only thing that the Hornets really have in their favor. Like I say, Baines going to be on a minutes restriction. If you like the Hornets here, I mean, like I say, if Bridges and Cam Johnson is out, that could be the play, but if one of those guys plays, man, I'm telling you guys, I mean, you know that Devin Booker, he can go off of 45, 50 points tonight if he wants. There's no real stopper over there. I mean, Keith Gilchrist is out for the Hornets, so you're not going to have the defensive stopper to go against Booker out there. So that's what I'm saying. It's all about the Suns, really. Can they make shots, or are they going to come in here to play defense? You look at the Hornets, the last 5 games, they have beat the Suns straight up, but like you say, those are different teams. There's a different coach for the Suns, new players out there. You really throw all that out the trash, man. I mean, this year, the Suns, even though they haven't been playing well lately, the Suns are a better squad than the Hornets. So, but they are at the house. It's like I said, it's the only thing really that they have in their favor. But them getting blown out by the Bucks like that, that's not. I mean, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. The only teams they can beat lately is, like I say, the only 2 teams that they've beaten the past 2 games have been the Pistons and the Knicks. So I mean, those are only 2 teams they can hang around with. I mean, I know they're at the house, but that's really the only thing they got going for them.
Don't you think Batum can defend? No, I mean, not defend well, maybe, but can't Batum maybe slow Booker down a bit? 6'9"?
Batum is pretty old though, Jimmy. I mean, maybe a couple of years ago, but he's got a lot of tread on them. He's got a lot of tread on those tires. Them knees ain't the same they used to be. He maybe could slow him down, but Devin Booker would cook Batum if they put him on him all night, man. It'll be crazy. Well, you know this game is a pick and roll game. No matter who they put on him, you'll switch them off and get you a different matchup. So I mean, we'll see what happens tonight. But I'm leaning towards the Suns in this spot. Me personally, I'm not touching the Hornets in this one.
Is that because you watched the game on Friday night against the Mavericks team that we just saw what they did against the Lakers? Is it because there might be an overreaction to how well the Suns played against the Mavericks, how well the Mavericks played against the Lakers, and how bad the Hornets looked against the Bucks?
Well, I don't think so because, like I say, the Suns hadn't looked good lately, really, and that's why I'm not in a hurry to back them. And it's on the road. The games they've been playing were at the house. They were expected. They was favored by 6.5 in that game versus the Wizards and lost that game straight up. Yeah, I did watch that game, and they played They took the Mavericks to the wire, and yeah, that was a pretty nice game. Like I say, if they bring that same energy, they'll win this game by double digits. If they bring the same energy that they did versus the Mavs, they just didn't have an answer for what the Mavs were throwing. The Mavs are a deep team. They have a lot of different scoring options and off the bench as well. That's not really the case with the Hornets. Like I say, they're really a jump shot team. They got a lot of young players over there. If they're not hitting their jump shots or hitting their threes, they get down, put their head down like a little puppy dog, which a lot of young teams tend to do. So I just think that the Suns are further off than this Hornets team. I think they got the better coach. They've been on a slide lately, and you may be getting some value here with it. I put like this: I didn't expect them to see them being favored by 4. I thought maybe to them being favored by 2 in this spot. I think the line is saying that the Suns are the better team and they're going to come to play here. But I don't think that they're being overvalued in any stretch. I mean, they're 1-6 the past 7 games.
See, the way I see it, the Suns Mavericks is a big game in the Western Conference, and with the way Luka's playing, all eyes are on that game. Now the Suns are going to have to go into Charlotte. What, they're going to be 12,000 fans. Nobody's going to care about this spot. This is a tricky spot to open up a 5-game homestand.
Exactly, and that's the only other thing that I was going to say. Like you say, they play a tough schedule here next. I mean, you got Orlando, and then you got the Pelicans. That Pelicans game is the 3rd game in 4 nights on the road, which is a team that likes to run a gun. I mean, the Pelicans have been playing great lately, but that could be a spot where they'll lose. I mean, Orlando plays really good defense. I feel like out of these 3 games, this is one where your first game on the road, you have to go and win this one. You look at the video yesterday, Devin Booker, man, he made 45 straight threes. I think he's going to be cooking tonight, man. I'll be looking at a Devin Booker. I know there was nobody. He was in the same spot and nobody is on him. But I mean, you make 45 straight threes. That's pretty damn impressive, man. I think he's gonna cook tonight. I think he'll come out and have that mindset of nobody's gonna stop me. And out of these next 3 games, I feel like this is one where the Suns have to win.
They do have to win this. How are we going to defend Booker if I take the Hornets? Do we move P.J. Washington on him?
Hell no. PJ Washington, like I said, he's a young player, but he doesn't have the quick to the side to side lateral the quickness to defend Booker. I mean, it's one of those things to where he can shoot or he can drive to the hole. I don't know who they're going to put out there. I mean, maybe they'll start with Batum. They're going to throw a few different players at him, but I don't think any of them it's gonna work tonight. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jim. We know Booker. He's a veteran guy, so I don't think any of these young guys can keep up with him tonight. All
right, I'm not sure what I'm gonna wait on it. Rem, it was in practice. He had 45 straight threes, but it's practice. Okay, let's keep rolling along here. Let's move on to Warriors, Hawks. Hawks have lost 9 straight. Atlanta's not beaten Golden State since February 6, 2015. Here is their chance, but do you trust them? Hawks open up at 5.5. They are now at 6.5. The starting lineup, and it's all comes down to Pascal, the Pascanimal. He is playing well, but Green on this minutes restriction. He played 23 minutes against Orlando. The starting 5 looks pretty good. Pascal, Green, Cauley-Stein, Robinson, Alec Burks. Warriors are playing their 3rd game of a 5-game road trip after that 196 loss at Orlando on Sunday night. I do not know what to do with these Warriors. I backed them against Utah without Draymond Green and cashed it because of the 4th quarter. I don't know what to do with the Hawks here. God, did they look awful. 158-111 loss to the Rockets on Saturday night. You have to think that they're going to play some defense after allowing Harden to go for 60 and 31 minutes. Atlanta, Golden State total opened up at 222, now 223. Look, I'm not going to sit here and take an under in the Golden State in the Warriors-Hawks game. I don't know what to do with this game at all. Why don't you take it away? Warriors, Hawks, J Money.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It's definitely tough to look towards the under, man. Even though the Hawks had went on this streak, Jimmy, where they had 10 straight overs. Since then, only 2 of the under is 2-1 since their streaks. So it looks like the last game went over. Obviously, give up 158 points, but that was just a terrible spot versus the Rockets there. Me and Junior, we both said it on our show that they were going to get throttled in that game, and that's exactly what happened. Cam Reddish, you need to see if he's going to play in this one. He's questionable in this fight. He hadn't been playing resales. Another reason why they got blown out the water. Cam Reddish questionable in this one. They offer 47-point loss. Like you say, they've lost 9 straight games versus Golden State. You look at the Warriors, they're 4-1 ATS in the last 5 games, even though they're only 1-4 straight up. This is the third game in 4 nights all on the road. Draymond Green's not going to play in this one, so they be looking like the Warriors of late. But you're right, now they got Cauley Stein. Burke seemed like he want to step up over there. You look at this line, man, I'm like, damn, what the hell is going on? Why the hell are the Hawks here favored? You look at, just reading the line, Jimmy, you would think that it seems like the books are begging you to take the Warriors here. You would think that this is a Hawks spot. If you look at the way the Hawks been playing at the house lately, they came close. When you look at the way the Raptors been blowing out everybody, this Hawks team only lost by 3 to the Raptors at the house. They gave Milwaukee all they could. I was on the Hawks there in that spot versus the Bucks. They cashed that one. They went to Milwaukee, cashed that spread as well. They damn near beat the Pacers here lately. So you look at the Hawks lately here. They've been playing as well. So I mean, I don't have a play on this game, and it's tough to lay 6 with the Hawks, but open at 5.5 up to 6.5 now. Something tells me, man, that the Hawks can win this game by double digits. Just reading the line alone, Jimmy. I mean, you look at it, you're like, why the hell are the Hawks here favored by 6.5? I'm not touching the Warriors in this spot. I just think it's a bad spot for them, and the Hawks had a rest advantage over them, and plus they're off the 47-point loss. So, like I said, if they get Cam Reddish back in this spot, man, we know the way that the Hawks like to run up and down the court. They have much better offense than what the Warriors going to be throwing at them. It's pretty much Burks and Pascal, and that's their main scorers. Other than that, they have to do it with defense. I mean, maybe Bowman sometimes, but the Hawks, if Trae Young gets cooking, man, they stay close with some pretty nice teams here at the house. I could see them winning this game by double digits. It's crazy to say.
And I wonder, because Cam Reddish questionable with the left wrist, but Bembry probable. Is it facts that Draymond's not going to be in the lineup? Because I can't find that confirmed anywhere.
Yeah, I've seen that he's doubtful. He's doubtful to play. He's listed as out. It's a back-to-back spot on the road. He played yesterday versus the Magic. I'm saying that he's doubtful and that he's out.
That would make sense. With the Warriors on the second half of back-to-back. Okay, let's keep rolling. We have Nick Allegretti coming in with nice stats here for the Monday Nighter. I'm going to copy and paste that right now. Okay, let's keep rolling along. Knicks Bucks. So the Bucks are rolling. They've won 11 straight, coming off that domination over the Hornets. Could be 12 straight wins. Antetokounmpo playing spectacularly well. The Knicks on the second half of a back-to-back, but it was Sunday afternoon. 6-game losing streak, 2-8 since Mills gave that press conference after that loss to the Cavs. I mean, what are you going to do when you're leading assist guy, Julius Randle, 3.5 assists per game? You're screwed. But this is my take on this, and you can talk me off this, is that Dennis Smith Jr. has a chance right now to get his job back. And he looked good in the second half. He finished with 17 points, 7 assists, and that's what they're not getting. 2 blocks, 2 turnovers over 38 minutes. Dennis Smith Jr. needs this opportunity. They're on the second half of a back-to-back. The Bucks, do they care? I want Knicks first quarter here plus the points. Let's see what I'm going to line shop in a second, but why don't you take it away here with this Knicks Milwaukee. Milwaukee opening up at -16 and now at 16.5. This total opened up at 222. It's now down to 220.5. And Brook Lopez not going to be playing tonight, it looks like. Take it away, Jay. Knicks Bucks.
Yeah, that definitely works out in your favor if you like the Knicks here. No Brook Lopez for the Bucks here, man. It's tough to step in front of them. Especially straight up, they've won their last 11 games. You look at the Bucks, though, man, they have been covering these spreads. They've been laying a shitload of points. They're only 2-7, 2-6 in their past 8 games. ATS 2-5 past 7 ATS. So these big ass spreads, man, against teams like the Hornets, yeah, they can blow them out. This team, the Knicks, man, I don't know. I kind of like teams like the Knicks where they have a bad straight up record, but they be covering the shit out these spreads, man. I know that last game yesterday they didn't cover versus the Celtics, and I think that was a pretty tough spot for them. But I like the way they be getting up on the 76ers, man, up by 17. Even though they lose the game, the fact that they get up by it makes you feel good when you have a plus ticket in your pocket, man. Whether they're at the house or on the road, they're just a scrappy team. They want to win every game, they just don't have what it takes. And you look versus the Bucks, like my guy Junior says, they always come out hot in the first half. They'll be up by 20 at the half, and then it's like that third or fourth quarter, they just like, oh, well, I mean, we got the game in hand. We're just going to come and bullshit around. Or they take Giannis out, and, you know what I'm saying, everything. It comes down to a 10-point lead. We've seen it happen versus the Hawks. So I've seen teams come in here, even in Milwaukee, and cover these big-ass spreads like this. Like you say, no Brook Lopez. The Knicks, they 0-6 last 6 games, but they 3-3 straight up. No Frank in this game, like you say. Dennis Smith Jr., he's going to get more playing time, which I don't think that's a bad thing. He has to be something. He was nice in his first year here in Dallas. Then he went to New York, and I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know if it's the cold weather or what, man. He needs to get back to some warm weather or what, but he does not look like that player that was a high draft pick out of NC State, man. They got paid, you know what I'm saying, got paid 30 bands to go to NC State, but we're not going to get to all that. But yeah, the Bucks, they only 4-6 ATS last 10 games. They've been winning games, but they haven't been covering the spread. So this could be a sneaky spot here to look at the Knicks plus the points.
I'm going to take it. And Vincent Hawkins saying Bucks first half, Jimmy. I will not be surprised if the Bucks outscore the Knicks by 10 points in the second quarter alone. But 5.5 first quarter, I'm taking it. And I bet you that Dennis Smith gets me this cash. Dennis Smith Jr. has a chance to get his job back. This guy's been such a disappointment this year. I'm taking the Knicks first quarter plus 5.5. Man. Minus 107, plus 5.5, minus 107 at Pinnacle. Here we go. While I'm doing that, Pacers, Grizzlies, let's just, plus 5.5, minus 107. Let's just move over to full game spreads and totals. We have Teddy Covers joining us in 4 minutes here, but we still have 2 games left. Pacers, Grizzlies, let's start there. This Pacers-Grizzlies spot. Pacers open up as 9-point road dogs, now 9.5. This total opened up at 218. It's now at 216.5 or 216. Memphis snapped that 6-game skid without John Morant. DeAnthony Melton and Bruno Caboclo stepped up. I've watched Caboclo many, many times with the Raptors 905 team. Solomon Hill and Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen actually looking like he may have a job. And for the Pacers, man, they're playing great basketball. Almost took out the Sixers on Saturday in Philly, and TJ Warren stepped up in a big way. Can you break this down for us, Jay? How are you handling Pacers Grizzlies?
Yeah, the Pacers are playing great basketball, man, and we know that the Grizzlies, a little bit surprising that they won yesterday with no John Morant. Brandon Clark went out early in that game as well with a hip injury. Valanciunas didn't play in that game. Like I say, all that. And I think that the Timberwolves just looked past them like, oh, we can come out here and win this game. Played real lethargic through that whole game. And the Grizzlies went out there and beat them, man, with a double-A team pretty much. And Dylan Brooks went off as well. I don't think that's going to happen again tonight. Pacers been playing real well. It is tough to lay that 9.5 on the road with them. They won 5 straight games before they lost to the 76ers in a game where they covered the spread anyway for us bettors. They're 4-2 ATS the last 6. They're 6th in rebounds the past 5 games. They're 8th in offensive rating the past 5 games, which the Grizzlies are 17th. They're 11th in defense in the past 5 games, and the Grizzlies are 18th. Like I say, Brandon Clark probably not going to play in this game. Valanciunas may come back, but the fact they don't have John Morant in this spot, I think it's going to be tough sledding for the Grizzlies tonight. They're coming off an upset loss yesterday. It's a back-to-back spot coming from many. Like the Pacers here off that loss, like you say, they've been playing real great basketball. Even covered the spread for us versus the Pacers. I look at them like they 6-0 straight up past 6 since they covered for us, but lost straight up. I like the Pacers in this spot, man. Even though it's double digits, I think it's high for a reason. And with no John Morant, man, I just think it's gonna be tough for the Grizzlies to find that same offense as they did last night. It's a tough back-to-back spot for them. The Pacers got the rest advantage as well. Give me the Pacers in this spot.
Yeah, that was an impressive win in Minnesota yesterday without Ja. It just feels like that teams can do that for one game, but they can't do that for an extended period of time. I could understand backing the Pacers here. I'm not going to take a big, giant road favorite here. Final game on the card. We got to be quick here. Bulls, Kings. Is this an obvious letdown spot for the Kings? They continue to play good basketball, coming off their most impressive win of the year. probably 197 road win at the Nuggets on Saturday night. Narrow road losses with the Celtics and the Sixers. Buddy playing so well, man. He's just really stepping up. Bulls have lost 3 in a row. Been off since their 107-103 loss at Portland on Friday night. Levine 36-28 in the last 2 games. Is this an obvious letdown spot? I'm interested in the Bulls first quarter, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger here. Bulls, Kings, Jay.
I don't think it's an obvious letdown spot, Jimmy. I think that really maybe me and you maybe be the only ones that's thinking that. I think everyone is on the Kings here, and I think if you like the Bulls in any way, shape, form, or fashion, I think you should wait. It's good. This line is going up, and it's only going to go up even more. I think the public going to be all over the Kings. They've been cashing spreads. They're 9-1 ATS the last 10. They are 28th in pace the last 5, and they're 29th in offensive efficiency the last 5 games. That's crazy. But the Bulls are only one better, 28th in offense in the past 5. So this is a spot I'm staying away from, but it's the crazy to say I can only look towards the Bulls here. I took them plus the 7 versus the Blazers. They lost that game, but got me the cash. That was the only thing I needed, and I could see this one going down to the wire as well. The Bulls possibly even win this game. It's the 3rd game of their road trip. They've lost both of the games previous. It's crazy to say, but I think everybody will be on the Kings here, and I'm probably going to stay away, but it would be Bulls or nothing for me. I think it is a letdown spot. They were down by, I think, 15 to 20 points versus the Nuggets there. Come all the way back and win in overtime. It's tough to step in front of them right now, Jimmy, but I'm not betting the Kings today.
No.
And one more thing, Jimmy. Most of these games they've been covering, they've been dogs. It's only 2 of those games in the past 10 where they've been favorites. Today they're laying points. All those other ones they were catching points. They were in the dog role. That's not the case today. They're laying chalk.
Poker Addicted 79 says Bull sacks like betting on blind kids to pin the tail on the donkey. Just take points if someone makes you bet that. I just feel like this is a letdown spot against an angry Bulls team. This Bulls team is angry. Kings just played spectacular. I'm going to pull the trigger on the Bulls first quarter money line. It's actually moved a cent towards the Bulls from 130 to 129. I'm going to take it right now. I'm going to take Bulls first quarter money line at plus 129. This is an angry team brooding over there on the West Coast, and I'm going to back them on the money line. So those are my looks on this card. Thank you for all of your help. Jay Money. So let's just quickly go over my action in NBA today. I'm still thinking about the Hornets. I'm on Jazz first quarter money line at plus 140. I'm on the Knicks first quarter at plus 5.5 at minus 107. And I'm on the Bulls first quarter money line at plus 129. 2 first period plays in the NHL, 3 first quarter plays in the NBA. May bring on, add on the Hornets. I'd have to hear what Teddy has to say about this NBA card. Jay Money, thank you so much for joining us. Follow this man at Jay Money is Money and watch him every day at 1 p.m. starring in Jammin' with Jay Money here on Sportsbook Review, 1 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Jay, have you made any plays official on this card yet?
No, not official. I am on the Pacers though right now, but I'll give you guys my official plays on my show coming up in the hour, man. Jimmy with Jay Money. Y'all come and catch me, Junior, and Jordan. All our official plays, man. We're finna get to some money today.
I love it. Poker Addicted making me laugh says Jimmy loves trash games. I do, man. I do love trash games so much. Okay, there he is, our guy, Jay Money's Money. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Watch him today at 1 p.m. Eastern. We go right from Jay Money is Money to Teddy Covers. Come to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, happy Monday to you. How are you doing this morning, my friend?
I've had better Mondays, Jimmy, I got to say. I got my ass kicked in the NFL yesterday. How about yourself?
I had some family issues. I had to very quickly go back to Canada on Monday afternoon. So, and I did just put all my energy into family, and I just let go of all of capping. So I was just completely off. I did make a $500 bet on the Boston Bruins to win the Atlantic Division, and I got that at minus 155. And I woke up this morning, and you won't believe this, it's minus 300.
Good bet.
I was at the airport in Atlanta yesterday, and I was like, how could I be getting a minus 155? Like, it just made no sense to me. They're so far clear in that division, so far clear. They're playing without Patrice Bergeron and still dominating. And I was like, this just makes no sense. I was shocked. I was like, is this a mistake, minus 155? And then I woke up this morning, minus 300, and I was like,
get it right. Feels so good.
So I was talking with a bookmaker yesterday. And I'm going to leave him nameless, but I had a long conversation with him. I was over at the Westgate Superbook here in Vegas, and sat down. Hey, let's talk for a while. And one of the things we talked about is mistake lines. Do they exist? Are they real? And he's like, it doesn't happen very often, but he's we were talking about where the line opened in New Jersey for Ohio State, Wisconsin, and someone posted a 12.5 there, and then other people copied, and it didn't last long. But that was a bad line, okay, a legitimate bad. Even at this stage of the season, every once in a while they can and do happen. When you're talking about getting something that's like a derivative line, something that's not getting checked every day, where they're only going to move that number if someone comes in. They're not looking at who's odds to win the division every day in the NHL. But when someone comes in and makes a big bet, you better believe they're going to look at it. That's what's going to attract the attention. So sometimes you can find a stale number like that and cash in. That is a legitimate opportunity. I give you all the credit in the world for making that bet and getting it, Jimmy, before that number moved. Obviously, as you mentioned, it moved fairly significantly over the course of 24 hours.
I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked this morning. I was like, it's one of those feelings where I was just like, just patting yourself on the back. I was absolutely shocked. We're going to talk Monday Night Football with you, Teddy Covers. But first, we want to know what your looks are on this NBA card. I've made 3 first-quarter plays, and I love them. I'm excited about this. 2 big plus lines, Knicks plus 5.5 with Dennis Smith Jr. a chance to maybe, I don't mean to be too dramatic, but save his career. He's been such trash. Look good in the second half. Those are my looks. Is there any moves you've made on this NBA card?
So I made one. And it's funny because you and I look at the NBA in a lot of the same ways, but our approaches for betting are very different. You do a lot of first quarters. I do basically no first quarters. And I'm fascinated to track and to see, are you in these spots? Because you're playing first quarter spots. And I tend to be like, okay, here's the game spot. My game spot today stands out is Utah. Utah plus 6. I put them in my pocket as soon as the line got to 6. And it's getting back down to 5.5 again right now. But, I want the Jazz off a game in which they were outscored by 40 in the first half yesterday. That's the game I want them. And Philly keeps winning. They're not covering. They won every game on this homestand, and yet they've yet to cover a spread during the span. Philly not a good team when it comes to margins so far this season. And Utah off a loss, 9 or more this year, they've come bounced back every time and won straight up the next day. First meeting between these two teams decided by 2 points, and I wouldn't be surprised if tonight's meeting gets decided by 2 points. So I took the Jazz plus the 6 in Philadelphia. It's the only one I pulled the trigger on. I heard you and Jay Money talking about the Bulls, and I absolutely have the Bulls circled on my schedule today. And then when it came down to pulling the trigger, I didn't do it. Not that I won't, and if the line goes up, I may well do it. But there were 2 factors in play. It's a clear letdown spot for Sacramento. The Kings still, world beaters the other night when they rallied to beat Denver. And now, it's a Kings team 9-1 against the spread their last 10. They're starting to build up a little bit of a betting bandwagon. And of course, Bogdanovich, so it's a question whether he was going to play tonight. He is going to play for Sacramento, and that's what's driven the Sacramento money so far this morning. I certainly look at the Bulls as being every bit as good as the Kings, okay? Even though the Kings have been winning lately and the Bulls haven't. From a power rating perspective, I don't think 5.5 is the appropriate point spread here. All that said, the reason I didn't pull the trigger is because the Bulls keep losing games like this. And the Bulls on the highway have had a really hard time in the fourth quarter in games where they're trailing. They've not made had good possessions down the stretch. They've not been able to get the stops in these tight games, and that's why the Bulls' record is what they is. So I had a fair bit of concern for Chicago's ability to close out the game. If I was going to take the Bulls, first quarter, first half, no argument here whatsoever.
I love it. And when you talk about looking forward or being interested in seeing what the records look like on first quarters, that is what we're doing here in both NHL and NBA. We're breaking down every single
spot. Less spots in NBA than NHL, but first quarters, overs, unders, money lines, spreads, all that stuff. We're going to break it down to see what we are succeeding with. So I'm looking forward to have that as well. I love that breakdown. I'm on Bulls first quarter, money line at plus 129. They've just been sitting over there brooding while the Kings are patting themselves on the back. I'm also taking the points with the Knicks first quarter at plus 5.5, and I've got a correlated play with you. I'm on the Jazz early at plus 140 in the first quarter against the Sixers. And you're right, Sixers keep winning at home, and they aren't covering. There is our NBA card right there. So we have, what do you think about pulling the trigger on this Hornets spot? I did not pull the trigger. Suns, Hornets. I just feel like the Hornets getting destroyed by Milwaukee. Nice wake-up call after winning that home and home with the Pistons. The Suns lose to the Mavericks, and then everybody sees, and barely, the Suns played well, got some players back in Baines Rubio, and then everybody sees the Mavericks beat the Lakers, and then we have this a possible bias to what these teams truly are, and I'm getting 5 points with the Hornets at home, but I was hesitant to pull the trigger. What do you think of this Suns-Hornets spot?
Just real quick on the Knicks, beware that injury report. I'm not sure they're going to have any point guard tonight, and Marcus Morris is an impact, Marcus Morris is not an impact player in the NBA. He's an impact player for the Knicks. I don't know if he's going to go. So a couple of key injuries for New York makes me very concerned about taking the Knicks plus the point. Morris is the guy that hits a shot when the other team went on a 14-0 run. And he's done it like 15 times this season. He gets the Knicks back in the game. So I'm worried about that. I was tempted by Phoenix minus the points. I did not pull the trigger. Again, the Suns have gotten healthy now. Rubio's back. Baines is back. All of a sudden, this Phoenix team that has now lost 3 in a row and 6 out of 7, it's circle the wagon times for Phoenix. And all the quotes coming out of the locker room after their most recent defeat were, in my mind, bet on quotes. I had Phoenix. All right, they had their hot start, they had their injury-related skid, and now I think we may well see a buy sign on the Suns. But I decided I wanted to see the buy. I decided I wanted to see them do it once before I bet on them. And Charlotte's the kind of team. Look. When someone comes to play against Charlotte's not winning and Charlotte's not covering. They're going to be able to take advantage of opportunities. And they've had some hot fourth quarters. They made some runs. They've been better at home than I thought they were going to. And they're coming off a pretty ugly showing. So it has bet on potential for Charlotte here. But when the good teams come to play, the Charlotte's not covering. And that concerns me here because I do think Phoenix comes to play tonight.
All right, I'm going to stay off and stay off. I hear what you're saying about the Knicks. I'm putting faith into Dennis Smith Jr. and Kevin Knox, and maybe that's a terrible blunder, but man, these guys, they could have their careers are in jeopardy, and maybe that's a little too dramatic, but they have not looked good, and here they have a chance to get minutes tonight. And I'm taking them very, very early. 12 minutes. Just give me 12 minutes. 12 minutes is all I need. But I'm excited. It's funny. I'm so close to NHL. The sport means so much to me. I played all my life. The first period plays in NHL give me so much anxiety. But in NBA first quarters, I love it. I don't know why there is a difference there. Okay, let's get into this big Monday nighter, Vikings Seahawks. Tons of guys talking about it in the chat. We have very, very nice weather in Seattle tonight. 42 Fahrenheit. Wind at 1 mile per hour. I had to keep double checking that. I was like, really? There's no wind in the Pacific Northwest tonight. It's almost perfect weather. Let's let our guy, Nick Allegretti, roll us into it. Nick Allegretti says, Seattle 18-2 in primetime games under Pete Carroll. Vikings are 2-8 coming off a bye. Am I reading too much into this because I feel like Seahawks should roll? And he says, add one more. Vikings are 2-7 all-time in Seattle, including last year's beatdown. There were threes on the board. Cappers like Dom Ricci got in at 3. Those are gone. Let's see what we're dealing with right now in spreads and totals here on the SBR odds page. There are threes. There is a 3 at Bookmaker. A 3 is at Bookmaker and a 3 is at Bovada. This total at 48.5 is now at 49.5. There were 50s on the board. I initially started thinking, man, so my first thought was the weather's perfect. The Vikings and Seahawks, we have a vividness bias of them having good defenses. They don't really anymore. The Vikings defense is not what we thought it was going to be. Their offense, both offenses can roll. So I was like, okay, maybe the over's in play. Then I went and looked at props at my book. 5.5 TDs. is at -120 at my book. I mean, 6 TDs is a ton of TDs. I looked and I was like, just seeing that number, I was like, wow, it makes me want to take the under 5.5 TDs. I want to hear your breakdown very, very much. Vikings, Seahawks, have you made a move? Are you making a move?
I have not made a move. If I was going to make a move, it would be on the home team. It would be on Seattle. And you talked about the primetime games. You talked about the Zimmer-Carroll matchups, which are, there's been 3 of them. They're 3-0 in favor of Seattle and 69-23 final margin in those 3 games. But all one-sided in favor of the Seahawks. We talk about the Seahawks defense, and it's a defense that I have concerns with tonight. Let me make it very clear. Jadeveon Clowney not playing for Seattle tonight. I don't think Jaron Reed is going to play. That's their top interior rusher and their top outside rusher, and that's an impact duo for the Seahawks on the defense side of the football. It's probably going to keep me off the game. Certainly one of the reasons why I didn't pull the trigger on Seattle tonight. And when you're talking about the form that Kirk Cousins has been in, Kirk Cousins, okay, has completed 73% of his passes for over 2,000 yards with an 18-1 touchdown to interception ratios over his last 7 starts. That's insane. Okay, that's the best numbers of any quarterback in the NFL during that span. And when you have a strong running game, all of a sudden the passing game opens up, and Cousins has been dynamite. I mean dynamite. 162 of 221 over a 7-game span. 9.1 yards per attempt. Those are best QB in the NFL type numbers. I don't think Cousins is the best QB in the NFL, but the Vikings offense has been very, very real during this span. But Seattle's season-long defensive numbers, mediocre. Seattle against the run, their last 5 games, they haven't given up more than 86 rushing yards in any of those games. That includes the 49ers and the Ravens during that span. 2 elite rushing teams. Seattle has shut them down. When you talk about Minnesota's defense, they've been lit up through the air. They gave up 306 to Wentz, 364 to Stafford, 275 to Matt Moore, 397 to Dak Prescott. All right, when you face the Redskins QBs, you don't give up a bunch of yards. Or Brandon Allen, you don't give up a bunch of yards. But Minnesota's pass defense has had their fair share of struggles. Seattle's run defense has better than the season-long numbers would indicate. That gives me... And again, with the injuries for Seattle if the Seahawks had Clowney and Reed in the lineup tonight, I would absolutely be on Seattle. The fact that they're not, maybe I lean over here. And frankly, that 5.5 touchdowns, I ain't betting it under because I think the Seahawks are going to get theirs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota moves the football effectively as well. Lean over. Seahawks. Didn't pull the trigger on either one.
Yeah, the breakdown makes sense. Makes a ton of sense. We have this memory of this Vikings defense being strong, and it just is not anymore. So no move at this point, and the 50s are gone, so somebody's smacking the under. Perfect weather for football in this time of year in the Pacific Northwest. Bob Ruby, thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you. Eddie Oler says lean with Ragu field goal game. Ragu says Seattle at home 1-5 against spread. Lean Vikes by 3. Thinking about making a move on the money line. Man, okay, I'm going to take a little bit more time on this Monday nighter. We'll talk about it extensively again on the Late Show. Okay, I'm copying and pasting questions. Let's get into college football. So I was off this past week. How did it go for you?
It went okay. It did not go brilliantly. I didn't pull up the. Let me get my records over here for exact. I know that we cashed with. Okay, here we go. Ole Miss, yeah, we cashed with Ole Miss plus the 3. That was a good number. If you bet that at kickoff, you did not. We did not cash with East Carolina. They got bombed against Tulsa. We cashed with San Jose State plus the 3. That's another one that we're glad we got down early. We did not cash with Indiana or Illinois. Those weren't any good. So overall, 2-3 with the plays here on the show, which is nothing to brag about. That being said, didn't kill us either. But it wasn't a great weekend. And I only made one move so far in college football for this coming Saturday. Plenty of time here. And when we talk about 10 games, we have ample time to delve into all of them in depth. The one move I made Sunday night, and I bet this last night as soon as I saw 6. You know the team. Come on, I've been riding them all year. Central Michigan, minus a 6 against Miami. That's up to 6.5 now. I would not be surprised if it gets to 7 at all. Let me just see. I was looking at it before we came on, and it was still 6.5. Yeah, it's still 6.5 mostly. And you can still find 6s if you shop around for the Chippewas. But Central has been a real nice moneymaker for me, and I'm a believer in the Chippewas. And at home, I wanted to get down on them right away before the number got to 7, and it may not get to 7, which means I may have locked up my money a little bit early. But at 6, I didn't think it was going to go down, so I bet Central minus the points. That's the only thing I've bet so far in college football for the week.
Central Michigan minus the points, and you're right. Pinnacle's moved it to 7, 5 dimes, 7, Bet Online, Bet 360. Wow. 6.5 is only available right now at Heritage and Bookmaker. If you guys want Central Michigan, act immediately. Questions coming in, and we will start firing them at you right now. Questions coming in. The first question is from Guitar at 18 says, "Hey Jimmy, I have a question for Teddy Covers." And the questions, as you know, range always, and we got a couple interesting ones off the top. He says, "I have a question for Teddy Covers. At what point is it okay to lay more than minus 110? How should I justify it? Do you ever lay minus 115 or minus 120 on NFL sides?"
I do sometimes, and you justify it by if it's around a key number. If you're talking about you'd rather lay 6.5 120 than 7 110 any day of the week. You'd rather take 7.5 plus 120 than take 7 minus 110, or 7.5 minus 120 minus 110. But a lot of times so there's all kinds of different factors where you're laying more than 110. We talk about money lines. We talk about halftime lines. So in general, all right, 110 is the way to go. Okay, there are occasions where you're dealing with a key number that I'm willing to lay the minus 120. I rarely it's like baseball season where it gets to lay over 8.5 minus 130. Instead of laying the 9. I tend about 120, 122 is about where I stop with those. I really don't like. Even at the 125 range, where you're laying 5 to win 4. That's a little bit high for me. 120, 122 is about where I max out.
That is makes sense. And one thing I've done in NHL in the third year, this will be my third year capping in front of you. I've never taken anything more than minus 135 in the 3 years that I've been down here. Paul Costa has the next question. Says, "Jimmy, could you please ask Teddy if he holds off on early week football bets this time of year with weather being a factor?"
Not necessarily, no. I'm not betting a lot of overs early in the week. But one thing that we do on Monday is take a look at the long-range forecast, and then we track that throughout the course of the week. So the weather games, we want to know about the weather games before anyone else is even paying attention. There's a big storm brewing. It might come for Sunday. All right, yeah. Let's get an under down. The dog's catching doubles. All right, let's get a bet on the dog in this one, for example. And then as the week progresses, you say, all right, I want to hold that position, or no, not so much. But if you're betting especially weather-related totals early, you're going to have a ton of value. You're going to get 3, 4, 5 points of better of it on totals on a consistent basis. And this is how much work it takes. Look at a long-term forecast on Monday. Make a couple of bets if the forecast says, hey, next weekend there's a storm brewing. Some of them won't be great, but they're not going to kill you. The line's not going to go crazy in the direction. Some of them, there will be bad weather, and you'll end up, I got 5 points, the best of it here. So from a side standpoint, no, I'm not worried about making bets early in the week. From a total standpoint, the only thing I want to make early is an under, unless there's a popular over that is going to be, in a dome or something like that is going to get hit. But any game where there's potential weather games, when you're talking about early week bets, unders, okay. Overs, not as much.
All right.
At this time of the year.
Now we're going to go into the games that the chat is asking about. The first question comes in from Vincent Hawkins. Says, Teddy, what do you think of Baylor, Oklahoma, rotation number 109, 110, 8th ranked Baylor at 6th ranked Oklahoma? Sooners open up a -9, now 7.5 at Pinnacle, 8 everywhere else, and this total sitting at 61. We do see 61.5 now on the board. Teddy, Baylor, Oklahoma.
Well, when we think back to the first meeting between these two teams, and it wasn't long ago, Baylor, pretty dominant first half, pretty outclassed after halftime. That worries me. Now, all the money's come towards the dog here, and Oklahoma's been a money burner down the stretch. All that said, the Sooners figured out Baylor's defense last time and moved the football up and down the field against them. And Okie, when you talk about a betting bandwagon team, Oklahoma doesn't have a huge one right now, certainly in comparison to the Baylor side. But, I'm going to think about this game more. My initial reaction is Oklahoma minus, but I'm not going to lay more than a touchdown with the Sooners. So if we see a 7, I might get interested in the Oklahoma side. Part of me thinks that the Sooners have figured this out and that, this is where Baylor crashes and burns. Part of me really does. But I'm not locking into that position on a Monday. This is a malleable position for me. But I certainly, my initial lean is towards the Sooners minus the points.
Sooners minus the points right now. Next question comes in Reese, and he wants to know what you think of this giant Friday night game. Oregon, Utah. Man, 13th ranked Oregon, 5th ranked Utah. Utah opening up at -5, quickly turns into 6.5. This total stuck at 51. Teddy, big game on Friday night, Oregon, Utah.
I'm not betting against Utah. I mean, flat out, it's Utah or pass. Utah is that good, and Utah's playing for a spot potentially in the playoff, and the Pac-12 really wants to get a team into the playoff this year. Okay, you say, oh, the refs aren't biased. Oh, how did that call go that way? Pac-12 makes a lot of money if Utah wins this game potentially. Much less money if Oregon wins this game. So be aware of that financial perspective. And even though no one's calling up the ref and saying, you better do this, that nod and wink and you understand, how much money it's worth it for us to get Utah into the playoffs. And not that Utah's there, but they lose, Pac-12 gets nobody in again, period. So I don't like to bet bias. I don't like to bet, I'm not talking conspiracy theory here. I'm talking about the ref who's getting paid by the league, and maybe the flags come one way and maybe the flags come another. And it's the kind of game that I don't trust Oregon from the conference doesn't want Oregon to win this game. So that's something to be aware of. And Utah, I mean, I have no hesitation to step in front of Utah. Forget or betting. I'm not stepping in front of Utah, regardless of the nuance of the game. Regardless of the Pac-12 wants Utah to win. Utah's really freaking good. Okay, I stood in front of them a couple times. I paid the price. I haven't stayed in front of them since, and I'm glad. From a defensive standpoint, I think they're the better of the two teams. From a let's run the football standpoint, I think they're the better of the two teams. Oregon's got the speed, but Utah's been able to neutralize that speed. Lean Utes minus before I would take Ducks plus.
That makes a ton of sense. We also have Big Ragu in the chat backing Utah. DJ Big Boss says, I lean Oregon. Give me +7. Love seeing Boss and the Sauce going head-to-head. This Wednesday night, I'll be live with those two guys. We'll definitely be talking about that. Huge games on this card. And the next question comes in from Victor Liu. Says, Teddy, is Ohio State a good bet against Wisconsin this week? Ohio State opening up at -17.5, now down to 16.5. 5 dimes taking it to 15.5, as is Heritage. 16's on the board as well. This total sitting at 52.5, although a few books have taken it up. And Heritage is one of them, 54.5. Heritage 2 points higher than Pinnacle right now. That's wild. Rarely see that. Teddy, Victor Liu wondering if he should back Ohio State against Wisconsin.
I don't want to play it. Look, you're not going to find me stepping in front of Ohio State, all right? Not going to happen. If I'm playing an Ohio State game, it's going to be on Ohio State. Do they really have questions to answer? They have no questions to answer. That said, their goal here is win and move on, and it's not a win by margin and crush this team and, we have to do something. And they've already beaten Wisconsin pretty good in the first meeting. And the Badgers, defensively, they're solid. But I will not step in front of Ohio State. And Jonathan Taylor, again, this is the type of game where the Buckeyes stop Jonathan Taylor, and then Cohn's got to make plays, and I don't know that he can do that against Ohio State's defense. I will only take Ohio State in this game. And frankly, you talk about teams that are good enough to beat Ohio State. Clemson, maybe. That's about it.
Yeah, they are a very dangerous football team with a possible number 1 overall defensive end there. Okay, let's move on to RZ. So can you ask Teddy what he thinks of my plays that are in his pocket? He's sitting with LSU in his pocket going up against Georgia. LSU opening up at -7. Pinnacle still has him at 7. Every other book's moved it to 7.5. This total sitting at 55.5 has moved down to 55 at 5 times. What do you think of this spot, Georgia LSU?
I'm not going to lay with LSU here. I don't know that I play the game at all, but from a defensive standpoint, amongst the elite teams in college football, you can rank them in a row. And LSU, they don't have the defense that I want to be laying prices like this in games against this caliber of opposition. And it's just that simple. And we know what LSU's offenses look like. It's been tremendous. They can score against anyone. Georgia's defense may well be it's not. Georgia's defense, the best defense they faced all year. And if the SEC's getting 2 in, guess what? Georgia wins this game. LSU might get in anyway. I lean Bulldogs plus. And I would absolutely look in that direction before I laid with LSU this coming weekend.
Bulldogs plus an early lean. Clemson opening up as 28-point favorites, now 29 against Virginia. Do they have any reason to run up the scores and just a win and get out healthy spot for Clemson? Do you think this is too many points?
I don't want the dog here. Okay, Clemson is that good. All right, if you talk about who the best teams in college football are, and notice who I said who I'd be worried about Ohio State playing. It's Clemson. Ohio State and Clemson, they're the 2 best teams right now, and I have zero interest in standing in front of either one of them. Period. Now, Mendenhall's an underdog, sure. We have no problem with that. But the point spread range, I'm not going to get to the window laying 4 touchdown plus with Clemson this week. But I'm also not getting to the window taking a dog that I don't think they compete in this game. The ACC, more than any of the other Power 5 conferences, was one team good, everyone else mediocre. And everyone else in that conference was very mediocre. So then everyone else includes, obviously, Virginia. That's a game I won't play. I can't see myself getting involved.
All right, we have Teddy Monday to Friday mornings here betting with the Bag. So we're going to be going over all these giant games this Saturday and then the Oregon-Utah spot Friday throughout the week. The next questions, Teddy, come in are about NFL. And Jeff Joseph says, Jimmy, very curious on Teddy's take on the Patriots after last night's beatdown. What are you thinking about these Patriots moving forward, Teddy?
Okay, so there's 2 things I want to say. One is that I'm all prepped for college hoops. You can ask me any college hoops you want today. I know we've kind of avoided it. There were a couple of spots I didn't pull, but I'm close to. When it comes to the Patriots, let me start with this. Okay, I had Patriots ranked number 1 in the NFL all year, but I thought they were overvalued at that price point. There's 2 things to consider here. One is I don't think New England's ever going to be as good as their statistical profile indicated. When you look at the schedule of that first half of the campaign, they faced every bad team that they could face, and they faced them all at the worst times, and they dominated every one of those games statistically. When you have a team like that, they tend to be overvalued commodities down the stretch. And now we've seen them blasted twice on the road against good teams. They went to Baltimore and they went to Houston and really didn't compete in either game. So I don't look at the Patriots as the most likely team to get the Super Bowl this year. Okay, I think New England is vulnerable. And we talk about where they're vulnerable. Defense has shown some cracks. Brady's shown some cracks. And when you start talking about quarterbacks, not just kind of on the wrong side of 40, but well on the wrong side of 40, I don't care what miracles Tom Brady is doing to his body. Right now, he looks a little worn down, and the passing game isn't working very well, and the running game isn't working very well. So I do have a lot of concerns about New England. And the Patriots, I'm telling you flat out, and it's not anything I haven't said before, but this year's New England team does not get to the Super Bowl. They don't go for the fourth straight season. Someone's going to beat them, whether it's Baltimore, whether it's Kansas City, whether it's somebody else. There are better teams in the AFC right now. In the AFC, let alone the NFC. There are better teams in the AFC than the New England Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was beating myself up 5 weeks ago for not putting that Patriots at 7-1 in my pocket to win the Super Bowl. All I did was take the Chiefs to win the conference and to win the Super Bowl. But now I feel very good about it. Although, I have no Ravens futures, and it makes me uncomfortable. But I feel good about it. Okay, Teddy talking NCAA basketball. We've been very excited about this, and the time is now. So let's let Matt Randall take us in to NCAA basketball. Matt Randall's play of the day, South Dakota at plus 14. So South Dakota shoots the three at an NCAA best 47%. Washington, one of the worst at defending the three, allowing teams to shoot at 38%. And he's also on Delaware minus 5.5, Delaware under 138, North Florida minus 14, and Illinois minus 8. Wow, here we go. Teddy covers NCAA basketball. What looks on this card have drawn your attention?
Okay, so let me first argue, because there's one that I disagree with, at least modestly strongly off of that group that I was talking about, and that's betting against Washington. The Huskies play that Syracuse defense. Hopkins plays that Syracuse defense, that 1-3-1 zone. The matchup zone is really, really difficult for opposing teams on their first look to knock down shots against Washington. And yes, South Dakota's all about. And they're not just a three-point shooting team. They only take, 17 threes a game. They're not one of these teams that's bombing 20, 30, 40 threes a game. But they're not hitting threes against Washington. And that definitely concerns me about South Dakota hanging around in this ballgame. And my numbers show Washington for the season allowing 28% from three-point range. At home, it's 24%. The last 5 games, it's 25%. That's a strong three-point defense. And that defense, I think, is going to give South Dakota trouble. Now, they may cover anyway. But the Huskies, the teams that only face them once a year, the teams in the non-conference play, I don't bet against Washington. That's a tricky defense to figure out. So I'm very tempted by Miami today, plus at Illinois. I don't think the Illini are worthy of laying this price. They've played a schedule. The only step-up game that they had, they got blasted by Arizona. And I know Miami had a couple of step-up games. They had a really rough time in last week. They've also had a little bit of time off. I like Larinaga in this bounce-back spot. I definitely lean Hurricanes plus the points. I was also interested in Clemson plus. So all the quotes from Pitino this offseason, I was reading a bunch of them. When you're doing your college hoops work and you're doing it late, you get some preseason quotes, you get some in-season quotes, and everything prior to the season for Pitino was, this year's team we're loaded with shooters. We're going to be a way better shooting team than last year. And what are they shooting? They're shooting like 40%, and they're not hitting threes, and it's every bit as bad a shooting team as it was a year ago. I'm not a huge Brownell fan, but one thing Clemson does, that team plays nasty defense year in, year out. I don't know that the Gophers are going to build any margin in that game. That feels like a real down-to-the-wire decision. Lean Clemson, lean under in that one. Delaware, I certainly wouldn't talk you out of Delaware. Wasn't that one of the other ones you talked about, Delaware against Columbia? Although, interesting to say, Columbia's last 2 games, back-to-back impressive wins and covers. And the fact that this number was as short as it was tells me there may be a little bit of a buy sign here on the team from the Ivy in that one.
I like it. So these are Miami and then leaning to Clemson in the under. Those are leans at this point.
Everything's lean today. I've not actually made a bet on anything in college hoops yet. I'm absolutely leaning Miami. And, at 9, I'll probably get to the window with Miami. Haven't seen one yet. There's 8.5s out there now. I don't know that I get there with Clemson. I was hoping for a little bit more. But I do absolutely lean Clemson and under in that ballgame.
We've got to put a bow on this, but we've had 2 questions come in, so let's just finish with this and bounce. We have a question from our guy Shadow and Mark Unkafer, both asking about whether or not they should back Furman. Furman opening up at -3, now -4 at South Florida. What do you think of this spot?
So Furman was the only way I would look in that ballgame. The more I looked at it, I liked the side for Furman. I did not like the point spread. I thought the number was a little bit rich. And it was really that simple. Furman's bet on. The markets are seeing that. I remember that from the Alabama game too, where they went to Alabama and was like, hey, Furman's bet on, and you hang tight, and lose at the end, and then you lose by 9. I worry about the number in this game. I wouldn't talk you out of the Furman side. It's the only way I would bet it.
Only way he would bet it. There we go. Wow, this is going to be fun. College basketball adding to our docket now every morning. I will make more time for that moving forward. What a treat it is to roll with Teddy Covers, who can be seen here Monday to Friday. And I love having him on this show. Leaning towards Miami, Clemson, and the under in NCAA basketball. In NCAA football, he's got to the window with Central Michigan. If you guys still want the 6.5s, they're only available at 2 books. In the association, he is on the Utah Jazz full game. I took Utah Jazz first quarter money line at plus 140. Teddy Covers, great to have you back in action. Can't wait to work with you all week long, and excited that college basketball is part of the card now. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's have a big week, my friend.
I would love nothing more than a big week, Jimmy, and I'm glad, at least I hope everything's okay with your family. I know that when you got to go home and it's all rush, there's always a concern there, my friend. So I hope everything's good. Glad to see you back in the fold, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
I love it. There he is. Follow this man on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Follow him on Twitter. Great follow. There he is, Teddy Covers, who joins us Monday through Friday. Okay, quick review of my action. Pretty simple stuff here, and I like my angle. I'm all over first periods and first quarters on tonight's card, and I added one over, full game over at 5.5, but I don't know if I'm going to get to the window because I don't want it at 6. I want the 5.5. But let's go over my action right now. Rangers first period at plus 110, bet that this morning. Red Wings first period at plus 150, bet that this morning. And then I added the over 5.5 that Heritage was hanging on Blues Blackhawks, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do when I get to my desk and I see a 6 staring at me. I don't want to pay, as we just had the discussion about when you should pay for minus 115s, minus 120s. I do not want to pay for a 5.5. Minus 115, if I could get it minus 115, I would bet it. We shall see. That's the Blues Blackhawks. In the NBA, I've stayed off of the Hornets. I'm not sure if I will stay off the Hornets. I'm on Jazz first quarter money line at plus 140. I'm on the Knicks first quarter at plus 5.5. And I'm on the Bulls first quarter money line at plus 129. Stick around for Jamming with J Money, 1 p.m. Eastern. That is in 24 short minutes. Definitely watch our guy, J Money is Money, and Junior Brown, our guys who join us, our NBA experts who join us on the show. Also tonight, don't forget, Live Line with Jay and Flash and Maxwell Smart. I'm looking forward to watch this very big Viking Seahawks game. I'm still not sure exactly how I'm going to hammer it. Nick Allegretti says Shaw's out for the Hawks, which still should mean even more offense because he can be a responsible defensive forward. Man, it's very thankful to be back with you. Thanks again for all the well wishes and prayers towards my family. It meant so much to me and made me very thankful to sit in this seat and hang with you guys as always. Much love. Let's have a good afternoon of study. I will be here. J Money is Money next up, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then I will be here at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And then again on the Live Line this evening. Thank you, guys. Let's get after this. Thank you guys so much for watching. But most importantly, it's nice to be back here. Hey, those bookmakers!